So, hello, I think I'm live. Always start with a cough and checking to see whether or not I'm live. I can see myself in the little window, so that is a very good sign. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the adventure that is Sonic 16 game ring shuffler thing. I have beaten a grand total of 14 Sonic the Hedgehog games. I have 2 more to go. Every time Sonic gets a ring, he will be switched into a different game. The way this has worked so far is there's been 4 games running at any one point in time. Every time I get a ring, I switch into one of the other 3 games that are in the active games list. And then when I beat a game, it gets taken out of the list, and one of the unplayed games gets added to the list. I now have no unplayed games left to do. In fact, I have a grand total of 2 games left to beat. I've beaten everything but 2 games. So this is it. This is the home stretch. I don't know how long it'll take. I think I counted this yesterday. I've got about 7 levels left in Sonic Advance 3, plus 3 bosses. I have 4 levels left in Sonic Advance 2, plus 3 bosses. I'm expecting this to be, I have no idea how long this is going to take. So, I'm going to start the clock. As you can see, just up above my head there, you can see the time. 20 hours, 56 minutes, and 46 seconds. I'm going to start the clock again now. And there we go. The clock is ticking. I am back in the game. So let's get moving and see how long it takes me to beat all 2 of these remaining games. I have saved the hardest one for last, or at least the randomizer saved the hardest ones for last. I am pretty convinced, out of all the games in the shuffler, Sonic Advance 2 is the hardest one, especially given the added difficulty that comes out of having the ring shuffler active. Because Sonic Advance 2 has a combination of difficult things in it. There are grind rails on top of bottomless pits. And that's really dangerous, because if you are on a grind rail and you press the jump button, you will fall off the grind rail. Now, if I'm in Sonic Advance 3, I'm holding down the jump button while I collect a ring. I will then begin to jump in Sonic Advance 2. Which is bad, because that means I'll fall off the rail. So here's a section I need to be very careful not to touch the jump button while I'm on it. Fortunately, there were no rings, so there wasn't much by way of risk there. I may be running low on time here, because I did have a bit of time spent in the introduction and setup phase where I was just leaving Sonic idle for a little while. But we will deal with that in our own way. So that's thing 1 that makes Sonic Advance 2 difficult, is bottomless pits and grind rails. Thing 2 that makes Sonic Advance 2 difficult is bosses. And if you see me yesterday, you will have seen me really struggling with some of the bosses. Because in the bosses, there is... This game... Sonic Advance 2, in the boss stages, will give you rings. I want to say, like, roughly every 2 seconds, rings will pop up for you to collect. Not only that, it's really easy to get hit and lose rings, which of course means picking up rings. It means that if you didn't pick up rings, you need to make an effort to get rings, because you might die because it's really easy to get hit. So it's an absolute cavalcade of ring gathering, which makes it a challenge, not gonna lie. But the challenge is part of the fun and the experience, so... Final stretch. Hello, Black Doom. Welcome back. Recipe. Yeah, it's the shuffler itself, just its own recipe for disaster. I think it is. So I'm on. See that? I'm on a grind rail, which we know is dangerous. I can't remember if I got air recently. I did not. That's a thing that water stages with the shuffler get very difficult because it can be very hard to remember when you last got air. I may end up timing out on this level, and I don't know what happens in Advanced 3 if you time out. Or I could end up, once again, having done this once in Sonic 1, getting a clutch finish with 5 seconds left on the clock. Not as cool as the 1 second left on the clock as I got in Spring Yard Zone when I was doing Sonic 1. But I'm happy with it. So, now off to find wherever that... Let's see, is this... That's the Emerald Spring. That's the entrance. Where is... Clutch Gamer moment, thank you. You know, this is what I'm all about. I want to inspire the next generation of Clutch Gamers to be just like me. Oh, there's number 3. I kind of just vaulted straight over it. Here we go. So, this is the 7th from last level in Advanced 3. I may find myself needing to think a bit tactically about whether I kind of junk a game, by which I mean just accept, alright, in this game I'm going to grab a lot of rings, I'm not going to think about it, because I really want to actively concentrate on another game. I expect I might start doing that with some of these bosses, because that's where it's been a really important point to do that. If you can get a game into a state where you're picking up rings without needing to think about it, then that's just a little, like, it just becomes a time interval between you kind of tackling the section that you actually find challenging. Well, that was a death there. That was quite hard to miss, I'll be honest. That was, I'm kind of getting pinged around quite a lot, so I'm just holding down in hope that eventually, that the level's going to ping me around until it no longer needs me to. And down I go. Just gonna hold down and let the games do their work. Now I need to move about a bit, just to get up here. And there we go. That's me jumping. And there's an instance where I was jumping when I got a ring. I was holding down the button, and immediately, as soon as I moved into Advanced 2, I was still holding down the jump button. Now, Tails was grabbing a lot of rings there, which was, Oh, no, that's the same jump that got me last time. So when I go up on that jump, I need to hold right and press the R trigger to launch myself up into the air. So I need to remember that for next time. But mostly holding down and just trying to let the momentum do its work. Getting hurt in Advanced 3 deliberately might end up being quite a good strategy as a way to avoid, you know, put myself in a situation where I know I'm going to get thrown back into Advanced 2, which is the game that is likely to give me the most difficulty. So here, just holding down and hoping for it to do... Okay, so here's a bit. I remembered what I was supposed to do. Didn't really think about I was doing it, but that's okay. That's about 30 seconds time loss, so, you know, worse things have happened. So far, Twinkle Snow not giving me too much damage. Not really worrying me too much. So I can focus on this moment. I should probably have got that air. Let's hope. Okay, checkpoint is good, but I'll keep an eye out to see if there's more. Oh, plenty of air. No need to worry. So I think this might bring me quite close to that bit I was struggling with. I think I go over here, and I think if I go down here, there's a spring I end up at. And that's where I need to think about jumping. Maybe I don't need to do a trick through there, I just need to make sure I'm holding down the right button. So, holding down again, just for safety. And there we go. So here it is. I'm going to hold right. And there we go. That was fine. I'm still holding right now, just in case. Because I kind of... Oh! That was a bit I needed to react. And... Okay, so after that section, there's one more section I need to pay attention to. Good times. Keep it going. But that's okay. I feel like I'm building up experience. I am learning and growing in this level. Although it is going to be interesting, do I progress through the Sonic Advance 3 stages significantly faster than I do the Sonic Advance 2 stages? Which could be very possible. So, I mean, if you want to place your bets on which of these two games I'm going to beat first, and what my final time for the whole 16-game relay is going to be. I am curious to know what your predictions are. I think previously in these streams I have kind of anticipated, I've told you what my expectations are going to be. I even did it quickly enough to get a gold medal. I mean, maybe I could write it down and put it in an envelope. That's how I keep my secret. You know what? I'm going to write it on a blank piece of card here. And this is wasting time for you and your betting, but I am going to say which one I'm going to beat first and how long it's going to take me. I've written it down. Here's the card. And my time, I'm going to go... Ooh. So I've got my predicted time in front of me. I'll show you that once I beat it. I mean, if you want to extend... If you think I'm not doing it slow enough, you can distract me with things like this. And that's how to get the result you want to see. But so we've got a bet for Sonic Advance 3 finishing first, and a total time for the whole run of 23 minutes and 13 seconds. So I do remember this boss really struggling with it first time I played it. Holding right there, I totally forgotten I was coming up to that moment. So I don't think there's anything going on in Advance 2 I need to worry about too much at this particular instance. So I can focus on the boss. So Black Doom still betting on 2023. I like the confidence. And that's definitely a year now as opposed to... There we go. Get over that thing. Just try and be careful, really. Because whatever I end up... Like... Wherever I end up in Advance 2, I am going to be kind of thrust into there. Oh, that's tough. The Wrecking Ball is tough. Now I'm rooting for death. So, I'm going to make sure I'm just going to hold down the down button because I'm not sure what I want to be pressing when I go into Advance 2. Anything other than jump, basically. That's what I want. Okay, so that was relatively safe. Boss time. Oh god, that was awful. I mean, this is just me struggling to fight a boss. But every time I do it, I have to get rings. Which is going to switch me into Advanced 2. Which could get threatening. I would say this is possibly the hardest boss in the game. But I really like it. I really like how it makes you have to think about your position. You have to keep your eye on multiple parts of the screen at the same time. And then you want to keep on moving, but it kind of forces you to stop and slow down. Because you need to coax the wrecking ball over to a part of the screen knowing that you can jump out of the way. And I think that's really nice, really neat. But once I got into rhythm, I could beat the boss, so I'm happy. Took me a few times to get the feel of it, but I did get the feel eventually. Robotnik says I'm going to pay for this. Let's find out if I do. Perfectly timed jump there, helping me keep up speed, keep the time on the clock down nice and low. 21 hours, 10 minutes and 33 seconds on the clock. We now have 6 acts and 2 bosses left to go to beat Sonic Advance 3. I'll probably need someone. Oh, we're in the techno stage in both games now, which is probably doing wonders for the bitrate and making my face look really mulchy. I had a look at the footage back from yesterday, and it was really obvious when I'm in this level in particular, but I suspect this one might be similar. When I'm in the kind of techno stage and there's loads of flashing lights, my face just gets really distorted because there's too much data that it has to do. It can't... Okay, I thought I'd be able to jump up there. Okay, I am back at the start of the difficult section. And hello, Izanuela, welcome back to the stream. You're playing Chronicles right now. Well, you'll have to tell me, how much ring collecting is there in Chronicles? You know, how badly does it need to be in the shuffler? I've never actually played it myself. Is it good, Chronicles? Like, I feel like I'm quite proud of the amount of esoteric Sonic stuff I have experienced. But I confess, I've never played Sonic Chronicles. And this feels like a stain on my reputation. Welcome back, Chaos Hill Zone. Thanks for coming to the stream. And... probably shouldn't have jumped there. Oh, okay, I think the grind rails are a bit more forgiving in Advanced 3. Like, you just need to jump on them from above. I think, unless I remembered wrong. And here I need to think about... Okay, I need to be holding right. There we go. And now I'm just holding down. In Advanced 2, I think if you don't land on the flat bit or land while doing a trick, you'll fall off. Now I need to hold right. Can't go through there. Holding right. There we go. Holding down now. Got to jump and make sure to jump over that guy because that guy killed me a couple of times. Okay, not sure what I need to press now, so holding down. I need to pay attention on what's going on in Advance 2. I'm just holding down for safety. The level design is pretty wacky. I feel like it's got... I don't know if it's just having eliminated Sonic 2. But I do feel like I'm getting lost less frequently now in Advanced 3. Whereas there was a time where Advanced 3 was synonymous with getting lost. And that was nearly me falling down into a bottomless pit. Okay, so this, I feel like I'm right up close to a very dangerous situation here. So I'm going to rev up and I'm holding down, but I'm paying attention to see what I end up doing in Advanced 2 because I do not want to press the wrong button. Pressing the wrong button does seem to be enough to kill me. Interestingly, spin dashing is not a safe action to do because Tails can be the bane of my life if he wants to. Okay, maybe I need to... Okay, I need to hold right now because he won't get up here unless his feet are moving. Yeah, I can do this in multiple runs, so I'm not above anything. Oh. Okay. This is okay, but I know there's a dangerous bit coming up right after this, and I really want to avoid it if I can. There we go. Okay, now I can roll. So yeah, there's this added risk of having Tails, because I can think very carefully about what buttons I'm pressing, but I have to pay attention to the fact that Tails can grab rings too. Well, quick time events with the mouse, I can picture them being quite nasty. But it sounds like it's one to play on the original hardware. And that was a very risky escape there. Because I think I nearly fell into oblivion. But I'm up nice and high, which should give me a bit of a kind of grace period being safe. But I am just holding down just out of safety. And I'm holding down and just hope that the level design will save me. Holding down, holding down. It's interesting, this kind of... Why did I do that? These kind of safety plays are becoming a thing now that they weren't before. And I think it's possibly because I have fewer games to work with. So, like... So, right now, I've got 2 games. Sonic Advance 3 is giving me plenty of sections where I'm picking up a lot of rings and don't need to think. If I, say, had Knuckles Chaotix going at the same time, I would keep on needing to interrupt Sonic Advance 2 to navigate the environment of Knuckles Chaotix, and then that would ruin my rhythm of thinking about what buttons are safe to press and what actions are okay to do. And, yeah, I like that. I agree with you, Black Doom, that rings kind of act as a currency, that... And in a way, I guess I feel like I'm thinking more strategically overall now that there's only 2 games. You know, it's like it's a consequence of not having to, not having to do that thing I was, oh, I've forgotten. I've lost my train of thought. That's okay. It probably wasn't that smart of a thought anyway. No, so, let's say Knuckles Chaotix was in here. I wouldn't be able to do this thing where I'm like, I'm holding down, I'm just holding down and hoping and waiting to end up in a place where it's sort of safe to press anything else. If there was a game where I actively had to navigate to make progress, like Knuckles Chaotix was, then I wouldn't be able to do that anymore, because that rhythm of going, it's safe to just continue doing one thing and not think, that would be broken. And we need to keep on interrupting that by thinking and, changing what buttons I'm pressing. And then it would be more likely that I end up colliding with a ring while holding down a button that it's not safe to press, and then flipping into Sonic Advance 2 while pressing that button. And it is interesting to see that the experience does transform somewhat. It becomes kind of faster and more frantic when you take that situation out of it. And this could be... It could be just that there's two games. It could be that Sonic Advance 3 in particular, particularly in these later stages, has a lot of rings and a lot of kind of automatic sections for you to get them in. So that kind of play becomes possible in a way that it wasn't in the earlier levels. And I guess my suspicion is it's a combination of both. Sonic Heroes, I'll be honest, I like but I don't think it's great all the way through. I like the music. By and large, I think the music in it is excellent. I like the idea of what they were trying to go for, which was to kind of recreate the feel of the 2D games in 3D. And I like, I think basically the middle stages I think are pretty good. But once it's like the city level, you got the city and then the casino, and then you've got the canyon. I think the canyon level's really good. And then I think once you get to the jungle, it loses its momentum because you spend a lot of time in these sections where you've got to defeat enemies before you can proceed, and the enemies take loads of hits to beat, and it just feels like it takes you a long time, and it loses that snappy momentum. But I kind of like the visual design of the Eggman robots and the flying fortresses, all based on fish, which I think is really nice. So there's a lot to like about it. But I think for me, it kind of loses its momentum in the second half. For me personally, so that's my take on Heroes. I mean, one thing I do want to do is add all of these features into... Can I get Tails? Because I think I've got death pits below me, but I can't remember. But no, I can't get Tails to drop me in there. That's just a death. Okay. But one thing I want to do is set up the Dolphin emulator to have ring switching mechanics in it. I don't know if it is going to be feasible. I don't know. My sneaky suspicion is that the data going uphill in one and downhill in the other, I like it when these sync up. These two games, they just seem to be in sync with each other at the moment, and it's kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know if it will be feasible to do the GameCube games. It might be quite a bit of a technical challenge to basically... Because basically, the way I'm doing this with BizHawk is that I have a copy of, like, each emulator... There's an emulator instance for each game. And the state of that emulator instance is kept in memory. And that's all I'm doing. When you get a ring, it is switching whichever emulator BizHawk is supposed to do. It's quickly just swapping over to say, okay, I'm running this emulator now, and that's got the data set up for the game state and everything. So I don't think it even like does the process of loading the game state from memory. I think I'm having to remember back to how I did it. This may be me misremembering, and this was my original plan, and then I changed it. But I'm pretty sure what I ended up doing was actually just keeping an active instance of the emulator itself in memory, and every time a ring switch is detected, it just switches over to a different emulator state. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to pull off that same trick with Dolphin. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. The thing is, though, that is just one emulator. So, BizHawk, the reason I have to do that is because there's multiple different emulators in BizHawk. With Alistair's Magic Box, which is the emulator which just does the Mega Drive, Master System, and Game Gear games, that is just the one emulator that's running all the time, and with that, every time you collect a ring, it switches, it just switches the ROM over, and loads up a game state. And, you know, Mega Drive ROMs are a handful of, you know, they're like 48 megabytes at most. So to point to a different ROM is actually quite a quick thing to do. And then loading up the game states is really quick because they're quite small. So with that, I am actually basically switching ROMs, switching save states, and it's possible to do that, you know, faster than it takes to do a frame of gameplay, and that is basically, you know, how it works. So maybe my expectation is, because it's just a one emulator, Dolphin, that would be my first port of call for how to do that, is to have just a one instance of Dolphin and switch to a different instance of, and just switch over the game and the save state. I can't remember which way I'm supposed to go here. Is it right? Let's find out. But it might be that what I need to do is something else. I don't know if... Because the game images are going to be, like, about 1 gigabyte each for GameCube games. So, I'm going to expect I can't just cache them in memory. They will take time to load in. I don't know how big the game states are. That'll probably be dependent on how big the memory of a GameCube game is, of a GameCube itself is. So it may be totally infeasible. I mean, it does seem that there's a little bit of a delay in Dolphin when loading save states generally, but I don't know if that's just, you know, if that's just me. So I'm making no, like, promises about how feasible it will be, but the only way to find these things out is to give it a go, and often giving it a go involves getting it wrong. And I probably will find it's really slow, but in the process of figuring out how to do it and have it be really slow and horrible, I may also figure out, like, I may have a smart idea for how to do it well, and that's just part of the kind of creative process. So yeah, that would be my instinct, would be to have one instance of Dolphin, and switch over the contents of memory. And it probably doesn't, like, I could, you know, in terms of the ISO, like the game file, it probably doesn't ever load that all in at one point. It just points to the file location on the system. So my expectation is to have a go, see how it works out, and in the process of having a go, maybe it'll work first time, and you go, oh wow, I was not expecting that to work. And honestly, that's what happened with BizHawk. I didn't think it would be so fast to basically just cache a bunch of duplicates of emulators in memory and just switch pointers between them. I was like, oh, okay. But most of the time, the first solution doesn't work, but everything you did to get that first solution to work means that you don't have to think about that stuff a second time, and maybe the stuff you've discovered along the way will help you figure out what you need to do for version number 2, and it'll help give you ideas. So that's the way I'm seeing it. It's all part of the creative process, and there's a strong chance it will just not work at all and it'll be totally rubbish, and I'll knock the idea on the head. But it's something I want to experiment with and see what happens. That's basically my plan. I mean, a lot of this stuff comes from, you know, just playing around with ideas and seeing what you can do. I mean, originally, the whole ring swapping thing, like, started with me building, like, weird effects into Sonic games for the purpose of making art videos. Like, I'd done this, like, thing in 2019 where I kind of tried to hack a kind of concept of environmental decay into the Pokemon games to make a pretentious art video out of. And then I started to see other things in, you know, other games and Sonic, and the idea of, you know, you collect a ring and it removes colors from the universe. Hello, Bubble Reg, welcome to the stream. And that sort of, and so I started doing random stuff like that, and like, what does the play of experience of Sonic become like if you can't see any of the sprites? And so, you know, things like that. And then I realized, oh, I can probably, like, keep multiple duplicate copies of memory because it's just arrays of bytes. And how about whenever you get a ring, it swaps the memory with the memory from a different point in time during your play. And make this weird kind of time travel effect. And it was weird and it was wacky and I really liked it. And so, because I had so much fun doing that, it was like, oh, that was fun. And then if you just change the work memory and don't change the video memory, you get lots of weird effects. I was like, oh, that's nice. I wonder what else I could switch around. And then realizing, like, well, I can just swap in the work memory, like, at will, and, you know, you can swap the arrays around in less than a frame, and it will immediately react. It's like, well, could I do that with an entire game? And so I had a go and found out I could do it with an entire game, and it was possible to save a game state from one game and load a game state from another game in less time than it took to draw a frame. And so that was basically the first version of the Ring Shuffler, was basically that functionality working in the big 4 main Sonic games on Mega Drive. And then from there I've kind of just been playing around with, you know, different things, figuring out other games can be added in, figuring out the Puyo games can be added in, figuring out the Master System games can be added in, and then putting in other features. Like, it detects you overtaking other players in the Micro Machines racing games. But on a technical level, what it's doing there is it's actually checking for changes in color on the screen in specific locations, because I couldn't find the data that the RAM data that was used to determine which racers were in which positions and things like that. So yeah, so that's basically the wacky stuff I've been doing. And yeah, and that all ended up with this. But I mean, the reason I brought that up, it is hard to keep a train of thought while trying to beat these games, because I just distract myself trying to beat the games. But the point I wanted to make is that a lot of the development of what you see here kind of comes out of quite kind of free-form experimentation. And what I'm trying to do is, you know, I will have an idea that sounds interesting in the time, and, you know, maybe, like, wake up in the morning with an idea, try to implement it in the afternoon, and either it'll be rubbish or it'll be promising, and then work out the rest in response to that. And then the things that you've already done, you've already got under your belt, and now you no longer need to think about them. And then it's kind of easier to come up with new stuff that's inspired by things you've already made, because you're not having to reinvent the wheel. You're not having to, and I don't mean on a technical level, I mean on a conceptual level. Like, you're not having to come up with the starting idea of, wait, I could make it so that when Sonic collects rings, it does stuff. You know, that's a thing that I already know I can implement. And so the next bit is, well, now I know I can do that. What other things could happen when Sonic gets a ring? And that's kind of been the creative process behind all this. Are you in Sonic 2 HD? Ooh, that's nice. What does Sonic 2 HD run on? Is that like a self-contained executable? But that would be, I can picture that being really nice. Like, and imagine, like, imagine if that became a kind of standard thing to do in game development, is to expose live data to the player so that they can make of it whatever they like. I think there's something kind of exciting and sort of, I want to say kind of creatively utopian about that. The idea that, you know, that you can make a game and say, okay, yes, this is a game, but we're going to expose a bunch of stuff while it's running so that it can become a kind of creative it can become a creative tool in its own right. Which I guess is what, you know, modding support is basically that, is that. So, I've kind of just, I've just explained Lua. There we go. You're exactly right. I have actually just explained Lua. But I came up with, you saw me, I came up with it independently, so it's entirely my own idea. Don't sue. But yes, hello, welcome back, Dennis. So what you've missed is I have managed to get to the boss on Cybertrack. So we have 2 more boss levels and 2 more normal levels to do in Sonic Advance 2. In Advance 3, I'm midway through Cybertrack. So I think we've got 4.5 normal levels to do and 2 boss levels to do. I do not know which of these 2 games I will beat first, because Sonic Advance 2 is kind of brutal. In the conversation, I think I got a little sidetracked talking about the kind of inspirations behind this and basically the process that sort of before kind of coming up with the ideas and then executing them. And talking about, basically all coming out of talking about me wanting to, like, see if I can implement something similar in Dolphin. And I need to be careful not to jump. And basically, because the train of thought that got me onto that was that, Christ, I can't remember now. There was a train of thought that got me onto that, and I cannot remember what it was. I remember from a previous stream, it is useful to hold down the R button to hold tails. I don't need the R button right now, so I can just hold it down all the time. I did not know I could jump high enough to get those rings, even though I had been trying. The rings are useful for safety. There should be some along the bottom. Excellent. You can probably use the air dash. Crowd control integration. That would be really cool. Like, so, in the, I guess BizHawk already has, like, people have already developed crowd control type stuff in BizHawk. In the Magic Box, which is the kind of predecessor to this, and I need to remember not to press, and I can't press R because grabbing tails will make me fall off. But in the Magic Box, which is the predecessor to this, it does have support for interaction from Twitch streams. So Twitch chat people could change the effects of getting a ring, or, you know, arbitrarily write into RAM, or do things like sort of every time someone types the word swap, it swaps game or something like that, and the streamer can choose which ones of those they want to use. So that's something I've played around with a bit, and I do like that kind of crowd control kind of stuff. Where it got most interesting was letting the audience interact, write out arbitrary RAM values. That was really interesting, because it became quite a kind of, like, creative, experimental thing to see, like, what kind of stuff you could make happen. Like, a lot of the time, it would either do nothing or it would crash the game. But I built a kind of rewind feature into the Magic Box to kind of account for just that situation. So you could try something, rewind, try something else. And it's like, in the streams, I think it started out... oh, that was nasty. Yeah, change the whole game on the fly. So a lot of the time it would just kind of crash things. But as the stream went on, it felt like the chat started to get, like, a hunger for, you know, they'd started to find ways to make kind of weird stuff happen and have it stick for a while, and there were some really unusual, unpredictable things started to happen, and it was kind of like, because I like kind of glitchy stuff from a creative perspective. Like, I like the unpredictable. I like it when, you know, things are used for a purpose different from their original intention and all these things. And I like it that when you're writing arbitrary values into RAM, you can make the game behave in a way it was never intended to, but the computer will still keep it running, and it will turn that nonsense into something with its own meaning. And I really, yeah, chat became enlightened. They kind of, it sort of, I think, I mean, originally, I think it was kind of, it was some of these things, it was almost like a kind of something that, as a group, we all kind of needed to get a feel for. Because at first, it was kind of, okay, it was kind of obvious how to kill, it was obvious how to kill me. It was obvious how to do something that would crash the game or kill Sonic. But finding ways that it would, you know, stick, you know, that it would do something interesting and then stick with it for a while, became a kind of it was like a skill in its own right, and you know, everybody in the room started to get a feel for it, and there was something kind of magical about this process of, you know, exploring that was like totally kind of like unplanned, and all these things. I really like that. So that's something that... Well, it's one of these things I would like to play around a bit with a bit more. The thing is, if I were to do it again, the big problem I'd like to solve is how to keep it moving. Oh, that's no good. Okay. Can I... How do I get up? You know, how to keep the momentum of, because it took a couple of hours to get to that point where it was kind of, like, you know, it started to get more kind of creative and you'd see more interesting stuff to appear. And it's like, you know, how do you make it so that it gets to that kind of interesting, kind of experimental, creative point where the creativity is having a satisfying outcome? Like, how do you make it get to that point quicker? You know, next time I don't want it to take 2 hours. Yeah, feel free to work, chill, watch however you want to watch. So that's kind of... It's on my mind as a... Well, that was an obvious death. That was me. Okay, I need to think about rings. Head back in the game. Head back in the game, Alistair. Okay, so what happens up here? Okay, back to the checkpoint. Oh, that's no good. There we go. One more boss down. It's funny, you can really struggle with something, and then something will just click in like a second, and you'll get in the 3 hits that you need to get. And you'll be like, wow, I didn't feel tense at that moment when I beat that boss. That was just kind of natural. So, I think I told a lie when I said how many bosses were left. There are still 2 bosses left to go. 2 normal acts and 2 bosses. And here's a section where I need to avoid jumping. Except the death there. So, onwards and upwards. Same death again? I'm not too worried about it. Because it's all good. It's all A-okay. I actually need to jump on that thing, don't I? And it's probably despawned over this side of the screen. Yeah. Oh, I'm still in the game. Not touching jump. I'm not touching anything. I guess the safest button to press is down. If I just hold down all the time, that might be a good thing, but I do need to jump on that. I'm avoiding jumping on it because I don't want to touch those rings. That's probably a bad strategic move, but I am holding on to L's and hoping. And there comes the train. Because I want to avoid... Basically... Just holding on to... Okay, I think this is going to be a death. No, it's not. Yeah. Okay, I need to figure out what I need to do in this section of the level. I think I maybe just need to stay on the first one, but, accept the rings. And now I need to get Tails back. Hello, Stonks for Life! Welcome to the stream. Going well. I have managed to beat a whopping 14 games in this shuffler, and I have a grand total of 2 left to do. I'm very near the end. So you can see on the left hand side of the screen, I have a timer going, and it's telling you how long I've been doing this entire thing for. It has been in stages over multiple days. I have written down on a piece of card my expectation for which of these 2 games, Sonic Advance 2 and Sonic Advance 3, I will beat first. Every time I collect a ring... I did not realize that was a death. Hello, Dennis, welcome back. So, every time I collect a ring, I will be switched into a different Sonic game. There are only 2 games left in the roster now, so it's the final stretch of just Sonic Advance 2 and Sonic Advance 3. I'm at hard sections in both these games. I need to think very carefully about avoiding touching stuff I don't want to touch. Avoiding touching rings if I can avoid touching rings, I will. I'm going to get crushed. So, these moving platforms have bottomless pits below them, so it is very easy to die on them, and that's something I really want to avoid happening. The level I'm on in Sonic Advance 2 has a lot of... it also has bottomless pits. The bottomless pits in that level are... they have grind rails next to them. And the nice thing about the grind rails is if I'm touching a button while I'm on a grind rail, then I will fall off the grind rail. If I press the jump button, basically, I will fall off the grind rail. If I'm in Sonic Advance 3 and I jump to collect a ring, okay, let's see where I end up. I need to remember that jump's there. I don't think I hit a checkpoint, so I think this is me right at the beginning of Eggutopia, Act 1. So, that's a minute's time loss, which isn't so bad. Oh god, this bit will be the death of me. So this is one of those segments where I go, okay, here's the bit where Sonic Advance 3 shows me why it's interesting. Because some of the games, and you can see the full list of games that I've played, I was doing 4 at a time, so when I beat one game, it would be put into the beaten pile, and another game would, I'm just going to accept the death there, and another game would take its place. So, did I choose what order the games arrived in? No, I did not. They were chosen at random by the computer. So, yep. Oh my god, that was me falling to a death. But yes, enjoy your work on the shuffle. I hope it all goes well. So, where was I? I think I'm just going to fall off there. I'm just going to accept the death again. Down I go. Right. This might be heavy concentration time for me now. So, hold on to Tails and try and jump and hold right. Because what I want to do is jump onto that platform, jump over here, and then I can go back down and then stay safely on this platform for a little while. One of these two is going to stop, that one's going to stop, and then I drop down onto the next one. Go to the left-hand side, and then just accept collecting those rings, because I want to jump off of that fairly soon. I want to jump onto it. Can I? Okay, so it wants to take me up here. So I think I can get Tails to carry me up here. And it doesn't work because I need to get in that from below. So I feel like this is becoming... This is a proper platforming challenge. Because I need to remember that that's coming. Now, another thing I have to remember is coming is this, which I got. Now, don't let me press any buttons. Do not let me press any buttons. If you see me press any buttons, scream for help. So, I don't think... Okay, I'm going to have to just quickly tap so I jump and collect something. I'm just going to accept not pressing anything. Let rings be collected if they need to be collected. But I am not pressing jump. Do not let me press jump. Get that ring while not pressing jump. Okay. Accept the death. I'm just imagining you, like, battering down my door. Proper, Shining style. And that's exactly what I need. This is what I need. I need friends to threaten me with a hammer so that I can be at my best. Maybe I just accept Tails getting rings. Oh, that was lucky. But you saw what I did there? I was holding down the jump button. Never hold down the jump button. I have no idea. Okay, so now I wait for this. I'm going to try not holding Tails, and if Tails causes me to switch to another platform, then so be it. There we go. I had to kind of react quickly because I knew that was coming. Something that's made slightly easier by only having 2 games left in the shuffler. Oh, we are near the end. So this is the end of Act 3. Did not realize we were so far through Advance 3. I thought we were on Act 2. Which is good. So I have to fight Gamma here. I'm kind of just taking a bit of a kind of crapshoot approach at it. And there we go. We've beaten Gamma. Fairly straightforward boss. Was happy to accept rings. I can't remember if there's limitations on what I need to be pressing in Sonic Advance 2 right now. And I'm not going to get another ring until I see the boss, which is going to give me plenty of time to forget where I was in Sonic Advance 2. I don't think I'm in a position where I need to worry about what I press. But hey, Cream has joined the Dream Team. Hey, Cream. Long time no see, Sonic. What are you doing here? Taking a walk with Cheese. But we're lost. This area isn't safe. Let's go. Okay, let's go, Cheese! I hope you enjoyed that dramatic reading of the Sonic Advance 3 script. My name is Soleriac Johnson, and I am reading the dialogue. Sonic and Tails, Cybertruck versus Boss. You saw someone selling a stained glass Sonic in real life. Firstly, if it's in real life, why did you not inform me? I need to get that before someone else does. Or was it on the internet? Can I do an impression of the movie version of Sonic? No. Because I feel like he sounds more like a kind of normal person. Just an upbeat normal person with an American accent, but not a specific American accent. So I can't really do him. I think that's like the best I can do. Whereas, I don't know, like, Jaleel White, the old gotta speed cheat, has a kind of specific attitude to him. Like, hey, Robotnik! No, I don't know. I feel like I'm just doing a bad attempt at an American accent that American people will be offended by. Quite pricey, but they have a lot of skills. They've got skills to pay the bills by selling Sonic merchandise that I want. Stained glass Sonic. Now, I'm not sure where I'm meant to go here. Am I meant to go to the left? Well, it wants me to go to the right. I go to the right. Maybe I jump down there. Oh, there we go. That's what I need to do. I need to jump up to that section there. £192. Is that how much it costs to get a stained glass Sonic? I don't have that kind of money right now. Maybe if once they do like Alistair's Magic Box, the movie, then I might be able to afford it. If I do... Oh god, if it was a movie where... Well, okay, sorry, I just thought of a thing. Like, you know there was B-movie, but every time it says B ... Like, you could do, like, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but every time someone says Hobbit, it switches movie, something like that. That could be interesting. I mean... Okay, how much worse are we talking here with the one slightly... There's another stained glass window, slightly worse for £42, but that is... Is it, like, £150 worse? Or to put it better, is the expensive one £150 better? Or 4 times better? I am kind of just jumping and rolling here in hope that I eventually hit something. This is not speedrun strategies. I just need to get a few hits in. So jumping wildly and just make sure that I'm constantly in a ball and then hope that something hits into me seems to be classic standing pose with thick mascara. That sounds beautiful. That's the speed you gotta have. You know what they say? Have stained glass of the Sonic you want to be. The more expensive one looks just like the Sonic 1 box art pose. Ooh. So, am I paying extra for the thick mascara, or I... Oh, okay, yeah, I had to concentrate. Am I paying more for the, like, the thick mascara? Like, is it £150 worth of mascara? Because, like, when I get my stained glass Sonic, which will happen at some point, when I get my stained glass Sonic, I want my stained glass Sonic to look stunning. I want my stained glass Sonic to look on fire. The stick mascara is a cheaper one. Wow. Okay. I guess it's one of these sort of, you know, maybe it's the expensive ones worrying about looking classy or something like that. Is that a link to it? Okay, I apologize. I do not know enough about Twitch, but I feel like in order to show the... Oh, right. Oh, sorry. I think you're sending me direct messages. That's why it's only up at the top. I was like, I'm seeing chat messages that up at the top of my phone, but I'm not seeing them on the screen, and that's because you're sending me a DM of the link. Apologies. This is me being a bit of a Twitch newbie, so I don't actually know what all of it are, which is good. I mean, there have been points where Twitch chats have had to like help me. Like I had 3 spam bots all came in at once, and I had no idea how to find the ban hammer, or even to know that I'd need to use the ban hammer. I was like, okay, I guess shall we just agree to ignore them? And then I was told, no, you don't ignore them because that, like, Twitch, like, doesn't like you not banhammering spam bots and things. The cheap one belongs in a pub window. What should we call the pub? What should we call our Sonic-themed pub? I mean, it's got to be the something and something, and the and something has to be and Knuckles. So it's got to be the something and Knuckles. I mean, the something and Knuckles could be a good thing, but I think if it was just the Sonic and Knuckles, the Hog and Knuckles, that sounds like it could actually be, that sounds like it could actually be a real pub, the Hog and Knuckles. Like, and it referred to, like, pig knuckles, like a delicacy. Like pork scratchings. Okay, so I saw Chaos Hillzone saying it has to be a bird. Well, I has to be a bird. And I'm just imagining that you've suddenly been gripped by a desire to grow feathers and a beak and fly away. It's like, I must become a bird now. It is my destiny. Ooh, the arc, the Flicky and Knuckles. The Eggman's head, I like that, and you could have one of the little Robotnik TVs from Sonic and Knuckles, you know, the ones that kill you, and that can be the pub sign. There's a little TV monitor. Well, of course it's got to be a bird, because you've got to be a bird, and you want, you know, your avian culture to be well represented in our pub sign. I appreciate that, that makes sense. Arc. I mean, maybe this needs to be our next mission, is to come up with, because I really like the Hog and Knuckles as a name. I'm like, that genuinely sounds like a real pub, and I kind of like that. But if we had, like, because I think I can imagine the Arc having the Arc on its sign, and that would look awesome. I can also imagine the Eggman's head looking great on a sign. The Sky Sports Sanctuary. No, that's definitely a Weatherspoons, that one. That's one of those ones. Well, no, it can't be Weatherspoons, because in Weatherspoons they do, like, make them sound like an old pub in the title. But it's one of those kind of, like, chain pubs that it can't even be bothered. It's like, if we were anywhere other than, the UK, we just call it Sports Bar. But we can't call it Sports Bar, so we will call it, the Queen's Sports Bar. The kind of begrudging acceptance of having to call it a pub name. I can also imagine a kind of a nice painting of the Sky Sanctuary Zone looking good on a pub sign. I learnt an interesting thing about pub signs, and this might be something that you all already know. This was on, I think it was on the Blind Boy podcast, if you've ever listened to that. I can recommend Blind Boy, he's very, very interesting. But on his podcast, he talked about pub signs. Well, pub names and pub signs. Because in Britain, we have a lot of pubs called things like, you know, the Nag's Head, the Queen's Head, the Wagon and Horses, and things like that. And they'll have a sign above them with a picture of that thing. And the reason these pubs have, like, British pubs have weird names is because when they were made, most people were illiterate. So they would they would figure out which pub they were at, and that was a quick rescue there. They would, like, you would navigate to a pub because, you know, you'd go, oh, this is the ship's mast, because it has a picture of the ship's mast on the sign, and that's how you know, navigate. But Irish pubs are usually named after the person who owns the pub. So, you know, O'Houlihan's, O'Donnellson's, you know, things like that. And I guess the theory that he had in the podcast was that, you know, people in England in olden times used to travel a lot, and they would often appear as strangers in new places and stay overnight at inns, and so, you know, navigating to these places was important, and so, you know, it was almost like you'd have a map of the town, which was the location of the, you know, the pubs, and if someone asks you, oh, where's the church or something, or some other old-timey thing that old-timey people would, you know, wanted to go to. So, okay, where's the church? Well, you go past, you know, you go forward for 5 miles and you get to the Wagon and Horses. What's the Wagon and Horses? Well, it's the pub with a sign with a picture of a wagon and horses on it. And that's how you know. Whereas in Ireland, you know, people weren't sort of traveling so much. It was more built around the local community. So it would be O'Houlihan's pub because it was significant that O'Houlihan owned the place, and everybody knew O'Houlihan. And it sort of has to do with how people would navigate urban environments. So there we go, that's the thing. The old grouse and pen. What would be, like, the spuddened garment? Like, that's one of these, I feel like that's a pair of words that sounds almost like it's like if you were in a bad VR version of the world, you would see a pub called that and you'd go, I mean, it sounds about right, but just not quite right, and it sounds like a pub name come up with by an AI. That's what we need. Pub names come up with an AI. Can we make an AI bot to come up with names of pubs for us? That's my next project after this. I'm done with Sonic games, I'm done with hacks. We're coming out with pub names. Or at least with starting pubs. Although, okay, so was that a bad move? So, new project I'm working on is all the kind of the Artholomew video game, which is all these kind of creativity exercises. And one of them is pretending to be a TV salesman. Could there be something about pretending to be a pub landlord? And the audience can change the name of the pub and, like, what drinks it serves. And you have to keep on changing something to do with that. Or like a soap opera or something, and... Oh, that's one I'd had ages ago and I never did. It's like the plot of a film. And using things that get typed into chat. Like the audience requests, okay, now it's a horror film. Now it's a, now it's a comedy. And you just have to keep the story going. So you have to satisfy the things that... And I'm just not going to press anything because I'm on a grind rail. You have to satisfy the list of things the audience wants it to be, which can change, and some demands can be removed, some can be added. But you have to keep it an interesting story. That could be something interesting to add into that creativity game. That probably makes a lot more sense as an objective than pretend to be a pub landlord. So, maybe the pub landlord idea is one for the drawing boards, but... yeah, I like the idea of telling a story with the caveat that it must remain, you must try to keep it consistent as best as you can. The Plop and Splash, that sounds like a pub you go into just to use the toilets. I'm going to the Plop and Splash. And then, like, people give you weird looks as you just go in to get go to the toilet, and then it's like, and then you feel obliged to get a drink even though you really don't want to. Everyone's staring at you the whole time. I would not want to be a regular drinker at the Plop and Splash. That does not sound like a good place to have ended up in my life. I am not pressing anything. I'm trying to make a point of not pressing anything, but I do need to press right so that I hit properly off of that spring. Okay, not pressing, not pressing, not pressing, no pressing of buttons. Hit that spring, no pressing. Get the shield, shield is useful. Fall onto that, no pressing, no pressing. Press nothing. And then there's rings there, so I'm going to jump into them so that I can hit them without pressing a button. Checkpoint is good. Puts Advanced 3 into a state where I'm not too worried about dying, which is good because I can use the rings to get me through Advanced 2. Oh god, that was bad. Fortunately, there was ground beneath me. I was not expecting there to be ground beneath me. I'm going to have a nice fun drink at the Plop and Splash after all this. Drown my Sonic-y sorrows. But yeah, and then also think about what streams are going to be next from me. Because there's a couple of, I guess, I did write it down today. The two challenges I'm most interested in doing are Sonic 2, where every time it gets a ring, it writes random data into the layout of the level. See if I can, how long it takes to beat the entire game. The other thing I want to do is Sonic R. Have 5 copies of Sonic R. That was the same jump again. 5 copies of Sonic R going on at the same time, and every time you get a ring, it switches you to a different game. And try to beat all five of the races with the shuffling effects on. So that's also on my list. I think the stream I am really keen to do is this crowd-controlled Romeo and Juliet dramatic reading. So I've talked about, I have mentioned this already, Bartholomew Video, which is the new game I'm working on, which is a series of creative and improvisational challenges designed for being creative on Twitch in fun and interesting ways that involve the audience. And one thing I want to do is it's kind of dramatic reading, so take books that are in the public domain, and the idea is the streamer has to read them aloud, but the audience can edit the text while it's running. So, for example, replace in every instance of the word Romeo with the word Alistair, and every instance of the word Juliet with the word Alistair. Things like that. So, that's something I want to do very soon, because I kind of want to see what comes out of that. But I kind of want to mix up that kind of stuff with the weird Sonic hacks, because I definitely feel like I've got unfinished business with these things. Like, there's weird hacks I put into the magic box, which I feel like I've not tested to their full potential yet. You know, I've played around with them a bit, but I think you'll really see, you know, what do they mean for the play experience. You're going to see that once you start saying, okay, I'm going to switch this weird effect on, and I'm going to try and beat the entire game like that. Every ring randomizes ring positions. I can imagine that being quite interesting with moving enemies around or something. Possibly even doing something to Sonic's coordinates. That could be really interesting. It would be nice to do something with the object table. Okay, that's getting me thinking. Ring and object editing. Because they are in quite a nice, like, well-defined area of memory as well. Oh, wow, I landed on a deadly mouse. Is this me? Okay, there was a checkpoint, so I think I only lost, like, a minute's of progress at most. So I don't feel too bad about that. There's a lot of... I am making a big point of not pressing any buttons, and I guess it's nice that having only 2 games puts you in a situation where you have to... where you can kind of get away with not pressing too many buttons. It's safe. Also, Black Doom has an idea. I would like to hear your idea. I'm excited to hear this idea. It mirrors or rotates the screen every time you collect a ring. Ooh! Oh, that's nice. I can imagine that being really weird and wonky. Another thing which it could do is like swap pixels around. So it will kind of write a pixel into a different location. So it'll swap where 2 pixels are supposed to be. And so as you play, the game will get more and more mangled. And it's like, can you beat the entire thing before the game becomes entirely unreadable? How many pixels do you actually need to be visible before the entire game becomes, impossible? That's really interesting because it kind of, it deals with the kind of the mental processing behind the game. It's like, how are you making sense of this space as, you know, 2D, turning 2D pictures into information about the physical space. I have to say, it is interesting how close these 2 games are in terms of where I am with them. Because I am near the end of the final regular act in Advance 2. I am about halfway through the penultimate regular act in Advance 3. So it really is like either one of them could be the final one. I think rotate, I'm quite confident you could do swapping pixels around pretty straightforwardly. So I reckon by that logic, you could, you know, do rotating just as easily. So I think that would be fairly straightforward to do. I mean, there is a kind of, okay, how do you, like, because obviously there's more columns than there are rows, and you have to think, okay, how do I rotate that? It won't be a kind of a nice clean rotation as if, like, if it were a square. But I think that just takes a little bit of imagination, you know? You go, yeah, you have to stretch some bits out. Yeah, I think that's doable. That's just, yeah, that's just a nice, that's a bit of maths. Yeah, I don't think it would work so well, but I think it would be doable, and you'd end up with kind of like, you know, so let's see, that timer up at the top would end up being squished really thin and stretched out really tall. And you would presumably lose some visual information when turning it 90 degrees. but I don't think it would be a death sentence, you know? It's so there's only one way to find out whether it would be, you know, A, doable, which I'm going to say definitely yes, B, look any good, and that is to try it. So I like that idea. Thank you very much. So, hello Animus United, and so we've got a prediction for Sonic Advance 3 to be first finished. And predictions for the times as well. Now, Chippy has already made a prediction, and granted, she predicted like an hour and a half ago. So, I don't know if you can remember what you typed in, Chippy. You can have a look back. I've got my prediction written down on a piece of paper, and you'll be able to find out who was closest between me and yourselves. So, Chippy is predicting 2313. Yeah, 2036 was yesterday's guess, and unfortunately was a little way off. But this is the penultimate boss in Advance 2 now. And as you well know, the bosses are brutally hard. Especially with the Ring Shuffler. So, what happens from here? Just because we are in the finale of Advance 2 does not mean it will be over quickly. That said, these last couple of levels in Advance 3 are difficult, so... Holding on to Tails for good luck. See what I mean about this level being difficult? So we've got a prediction of 23 minutes and 30 seconds from Animus United. So we will find out after this, like, once it ends, we'll find out who is closer out of yourselves and me. And you predicted Advance 3 to be first to finish. And I think that was the same. Chippy guessed Advance 3 would be first to finish. Could go either way at the moment, because this boss is doing a number on me. Just wait for the rings. Come on, rings. Because I need them for the safety. I feel like I need to use the air dash. And that takes me off of the... Oh wait, I can change my... I forgot I can press up and down in this level to change what I'm aligned with. So, I can change from floor to ceiling by pressing the jump buttons. Yeah, that was bad. But at least I know how to do this boss now. I have to use the up and down buttons to change the direction of gravity. So I can use that to get away from the bomb strikes. So I'm going to go into a bunch of rings. I wonder if I can get Tails to carry me across here. Oh, I think I might fall off because I think I bashed Sonic into the wall. Oh no, I didn't. I live. And Tails went and got rid of a Badnik for me. Thank you, Tails. Holding down the R button. Use Tails to avoid the rings if I can. Using the gravity to drop down. Guessing that that's where I need to go. Hoping for checkpoints. Oh, I did not realize that that bomb blast was happening there. I jumped straight into it. Tails being very helpful, buddy. I think we can all express our resounding support for the cute orange fox jumping over the lazy Eggman. There we go. Checkpoint is good. I like checkpoint. I want rings. Thank you. Oh, come on. I'm using up and down to kind of hover into the rings there. And there we go. So that's a boss done. We are down to the final boss in Advance 2. The final boss, which is a boss rush followed by this big metal kind of sentinel thing at the end. In the XX zone. There we go. There's boss number 1. Now the bosses can accept slightly less damage than they could in the first time I fought them, so it should be a little bit faster to beat. And I do get, like, every time I beat a boss, it acts as a checkpoint. Letting myself get the rings for safety there, but also... Oh, I thought I jumped into my own oblivion, so that was not good. It's HH, the evil clone of H from Steps. HH from Super Steps. So, 1 boss down. 6 to go, question mark. And it's these bombs. I'll be honest, like, part of the reason that the Sonic Advance 2 bosses are hard with the Shuffler is because they're generally hard anyway. But the Shuffler does a certain amount to add to that. But I'm glad of the checkpoints, the fact that every boss you beat acts as a checkpoint. Kind of wish I'd got a ring there. Getting these rings for safety is kind of important. Oh, that was lucky where I landed, because I was very close to Bottomless Pit. And I got thrown back into... onto land. So, let's destroy that badnik, get the ring. There we go. Hold on to Tails for safety. And now, I should be in the air with Tails, so I just need to get him to fly me up. So I want to be hammering on the jump button when I get rings now. There we go. Honestly, I thought it would make me fall off because I bonked into the land. Maybe that's not something that actually happens, it's just something that happens in my imagination. I've got 1 ring left. That's enough to get 2 hits in, and now... use this. Okay. Ooh, what am I doing in Advance 3? I'm lucky I just hit a checkpoint. But I'm not confident I'm doing well. Alright, another down. Let's keep this up. Yeah, I think I've got so used to there being bottomless pits that I've just started to expect them everywhere. I'm launching that thing early because I feel like I was supposed to. Another thing which is happening tonight, which hasn't happened in previous streams, is, and I find myself doing this yesterday as well with Sonic 2, wanting to do the air dash in games that aren't Sonic Advance 2. I tried to do it in Advance 3 and Sonic 2 yesterday, and I keep on finding myself still doing it, trying to do it in Sonic Advance 3, where he doesn't have that move. So the air dash is in Advance 2 when you're in the air, you double tap the jump button and he will do a kind of forward dash like that. Able to accept a hit and take accepted a hit and still get rings when I landed. Are there more rings in this version of the level than there were, or maybe fewer? I don't know, because I feel like when I played it originally, that level was just kind of huge. I didn't know you got the air dash in Advance 1 as well. That's cool. That'll help me next time. Okay, one more regular level of Advance 3 left to do, and the final boss. So these games are kind of in sync with each other. There's Act 3. So this one's quite hard. I remember this being difficult. I had to do a lot of holding on to Tails last time I tried this in a shuffler. Because Tails will get rings, and it is very easy to fall off of stuff. And it's a very bottomless pit-y level. So yes, it's an auto-scroller, and it's also stupid hard. What will be an interesting thing to look back on is what are the hardest levels in the game. And if I was to ask what are the hardest bosses in the game, I would say all of the Sonic Advance 2 bosses, followed by... And there we go, that's our first death. All the Sonic Advance 2 bosses would come in the league. The Sonic Advance 1 final boss as well. What other bosses have given me trouble in this run? Oh, obviously the final boss in Spinball. But yeah. But from previous experience, I remember Chaos Angel Act 3 being brutally hard. So if I finish Sonic Advance 2 first, obviously it's going to make it somewhat easier because I'm just playing it normally. Need to wait for rings. Right, Tails grab those. Oh god, was this a bad move? Because I don't know where the thing is. I think I may have despawned it even. Maybe I just have to deal with the rings there. And just accept them. And accept that Tails is maybe going to get rings. And stop this strategy of trying to hold on to him. I can jump over rings if I want to. But holding on to Tails means that I can't do damage while I'm jumping. I need the ability to do damage while jumping for protection to hit those bat things. Hold on to Tails for safety. 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 Hold on to Tails, please. Hold on to Tails, please. Hold on to Tails and don't let go of him. Don't ever let go of the fox. The fox will help you beat the boss. Kinda had a rhythm going there. I will lose it. Oh, wow. Wah. Wah! Says Sonic. His best Wario impression. Waluigi, even. Does Wario go wah as well? Or is it just Waluigi? There we go. Nice rhythm in that. Now we have the big wheel. As you can say, oh, hello, Sonic! Would you like to see my big wheel? That's my impression of Robotnik. That's what he sounds like now. I've decided. So watch out for the hand, because the hand can one-hit KO you. The turret not taking too many hits this time, but there was an example of me holding down the jump button. I think okay, I need to duck to get past that thing. And then I think I need to jump over the next one and just not worry about trying to hurt them. Just accept the rings. Oh, nearly hit Robotnik there. See, I want to try doing it as Sonic and Tails just because I like the combination of Sonic and Tails. I feel like it's a kind of I've made my bed, I'll sleep in it situation. I want to accept the challenge. Maybe for the speedrun it might make sense to switch into Tails. You can cheese the final bosses with Sonic and Cream. I think last time I found it was actually like the final boss is already quite cheesable in Advanced 3. I can't remember what it was I found. If I find it again, or I'll find out I remembered wrong. But I feel like there was a nice kind of cheesy strategy I could use. Just... Oh, not going to wait. I'm going to wait for the hand. There we go. Oh, was not expecting that. Was not expecting that. Oh yeah, Tails continue. I think that's what I was doing, was using the team attack with Tails and getting Tails to just fly up and hit it in the face. Which kind of feels a bit like cheating. Okay, at least I got a ring, but I think I'm close to getting one hit. One-shotted by the hand. Okay, now hold on to Tails for safekeeping. And as I focus on jumping over stuff. I'm still holding on to R because I want to keep an eye of where that fox is. I do not want him jumping into rings and making this harder than it needs to be. And I think I want to hold on to Tails because I'm probably going to fall down here and then going to need Tails to pick me up. Tails is quite handy as a backup. Like, to catch you if you fall. I can be your... I can be your hedgehog, baby. But he's a fox, so... Oh well, I'll have to come up with a new song. Would you fly if I asked you to fly? Yay! Checkpoint. So I think there's only one checkpoint in that level. I think that's me at the halfway point. So it is neck and neck between these two games. For whatever reason, I couldn't get the air dash there. But crisis averted, I guess. And there's the karate chop. Right. Keeping on holding onto the R button. There we go. 2 hits to get that. Should have got rings, so I'm hanging back. And wait for them to come up. Avoid the rings. Oh, but I need to remember that ceiling, so I want to be holding left next time I switch. That's good avoiding of the hand. I did not remember to press left. Luckily, I already had enough momentum to not worry. God. Worrying about holding onto tails does add an extra level of difficulty there. Oh, no! I jumped over Robotnik. Okay, I think I need to get over there quickly. No. This segment's tough. I remember this segment being tough. From when I did the trilogy with the shuffler. Okay, keep it going. That's a hit. I can't remember how many more I need to get on him. I've not been counting. Jumped as I got that because I wanted to be jumping in advance. 2. Get the hit in and then get the rings. And now I can focus on momentum. Oh, you really have to remember that that's coming. Or stay with the rings. Stay with the rings. There is a shortcut after a little while. Let's see if I can remember where it is. And there we go, that's that boss down. That's good, because that's the hardest one. Next up, we have... There's the ice. This will be the techno level. Oh, is this the... Okay, this is the rail with the platforms. I feel like this should be relatively reasonable. Okay, let's... I feel like last time I figured out a way to make, like, jumping between or running under. It's dealing with the lasers is kind of tough. I can't remember why. Okay, I need to go left there. Right here, let's just accept the rings. And try not to hit any buttons when I get my next rings. There they are. I saw them coming, so that was good. I knew I was going to fall into them. Yeah, so I'm going to try and avoid tails if I can. Avoid holding tails. Because I kind of don't feel like that was as safe as I wanted it to be. Because it took away my ability to do damage while in the air. Which means that flying enemies become that much more dangerous. I'm still on the platform. I'm accepting picking up the rings. I'm not going to try and avoid them. I guess it's nice knowing that once I get rings in Advanced 3, I will get a few in a row. So, whatever game, you know, if I, like, I in a way, it adds a level of predictability that was not there before. I don't know why I started singing, because I thought I had just been zapped by lasers. Oh! That was a bad miss. Oof. The sound of Eggman being defeated. I love the voice samples in these games. Especially the, you little, and you're going to pay for this, in Advance 3. I think those are really good, voice samples. So, over here. Oh, if I jump when I hear the... Oh, that is a good spot. Well done. If I jump when I hear the laser noise, then I can avoid. Now we'll fire them upwards. That is a good call. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! I was going left in 2, which caused me to go left in 3 when I wanted to be going right. Ah! Okay, that's enough hits for that. Now the next boss is fairly straightforward, so we are very, very close to the end of Advance 2. I may not need to worry about the super duper hard bit in Advance 3. Fortunately, that super duper hard bit in Advance 3, I have, like, beaten in a shuffler before. I did the Sonic Advance trilogy with a rule that once I beat a game, I had to finish it. Like, I had to start again with a different character. So, like, Advance 3 was the last one to finish, and I was beating it while playing as Knuckles in Advance 1 and Tails in Advance 2, because I'd already beaten those. So I still had to deal with the shuffling in there. So knowing that I can beat it with the shuffler is good for this. Oh wow, that was good. And so yeah, now we just have Boss Arena in Advance 2. So the chances are, unless I pull something magical out of the bag, if you bet Sonic Advance 2 would be finished first, then you are right. I don't mind them reusing the bosses so much because I think I really like the bosses in this game. I really like the whole thing of running to... Because Sonic is a game about running. Sonic runs fast. That's his thing. So, like, it makes sense that they should have bosses where Sonic has to run fast. I think the bosses are really good in this. And, yeah, but, like, yeah. Sonic runs fast. In the bosses, you have to run to chase after the bosses. You are interacting with the speed and the momentum and things. I think it's really nice. So I'd rather, like, the finale of the game, it needs to involve the running, because otherwise you're taking out the star of the show. Okay. Oh well, at least it's not a one-hit kill up there. Okay, I've got it into pinch mode. Yeah, that was a death. The final boss can cause you to time out. I remember a really good Flash game based on Advance 2. I can't remember what it was, but I remember it being really good. There was also a really good fan-made 2D version of Sonic 06, and it was just one level. It was the Kingdom Valley Zone, and I think they used the sprite from Advance 2 for it. I remember that being really good. I mean, it was just a demo of, like, to show off what it would be like. I don't think it was a long-term project. Oh! Yeah, like, I think because the Mega Drive games are well known, they've been kind of well explored in a way that and there we go. That is time, I believe. Sonic stopped moving, so that's time. Sonic Advance 2 has been beaten at a time of 22 minutes and 48 seconds. 22 hours and 48 minutes. So, I've beaten the final boss. I don't know, in the others I've waited for the credits to appear before switching, so for fairness I'm going to do that with this. But we are, and there are probably better decompilations because, yep, that makes a lot of sense. Let's go, let's go. I'm waiting for the end credits to appear, and as soon as the first end credits appears, that's when I am switching into Advance 3, because that's the way I've treated it so far. There are no specifics on, like, the right way to do this. Okay, and this is there going to be a name? Sonic Team. I just want to see a person's name. That's what I want to see. Yuji Naka. Okay. I can switch out of this. Remove. Remove current game from shuffler. And we just have Sonic Advance 3 left, which I'm playing normally. We're on the final stretch. The final handful of minutes. Look at me getting all of these rings without a care in the world. What is my final time going to be? Let's make some noises in the chat. Pretend to be balloons and fly around the room. Soft boil an egg and give it to a friend and tell the friend that this egg is a pop star and this is a song it sings. And while you're doing that, we're still going on though, still going on. It is plausible that I will beat this today, but given that performance, not necessarily true. So how long will it take? 23 minutes and 2 seconds. That's anticipating me to take about 12 minutes from here to beat the full game. Let's find out. I was right next to a shortcut. I can use Tails to help me now. I'm not so worried about keeping Tails as my happy little buddy, because Tails can fly and all of these cool things that I can use. Where's the platform? Did I just despawn the platform? Maybe I despawned the platform, but that's okay, because I went over here. Is this the shortcut? It's a shortcut. I accidentally found the shortcut. Excellent. Living the dream. Oh, there's one more of these. Okay, cool. I don't have to worry about the switches. But I will say I'll probably put, in terms of interestingness, Advanced 3 goes pretty high on the list because of this last string of levels. And the fact that you can use the team buddy mechanics to your advantage, and you may have to use the team buddy mechanics to kind of take Tails out of action. I still die, even though I don't get a ring. I need to self-impose a penalty. Alright, every time I die, what, I take a shot? Every time Sonic dies, I have to clap. Every time I get a ring, I snap my fingers. Alright, let's try it. Let's try. I get a ring and I have to clap. Ah! I dropped the controller. Busy thinking about. Let's go at 2 wasted for Advance 3. Yeah. Every time I die, I get a I get a ring back. I get a game back. That would be hell. Alright. I gotta try to be good. Try to be good. Tails, come with me. I shall hold you like a cuddly ball of fun. Defend me, Tails. Fly me to safety. Don't let the thing despawn like you did last time. I don't know where I am. Let's let Tails fly me over these things. It's safe to get rings now. If I die again, I have to add Sonic Chronicles. If I die again, I have to do Spinball again. Yeah, so, okay, the list of the most interesting. I definitely put Advanced 1 up at the top. And then probably Advanced 3 after that, and then Knuckles Chaotix. Knuckles Chaotix and Sonic Triple Trouble and Sonic Spinball were the most painful. I would say... Oh, okay, so I lied about the number of bosses. There's 2 bosses left to go, and I forgot that this boss was even in Advanced 3. I got it mixed up with another boss where you have to jump to flip him upside down. This one. You have to... There we go. So he flips himself over. Ah, he did it just at the wrong point in time. This might take a few attempts. Yeah, it will. I don't have Sonic 1 GBA in the list, not yet. I think Animus has added that support for it into the shuffle, so I haven't got round to code reviewing it yet, but there is a pull request on the GitHub, so the next version will have exactly that Sonic game in it. I don't think you can make him flip over in this. There's a boss in Sonic Advance 1 which is kind of similar to this, and you can make him flip over. So we are in pinch mode. Getting that ring for safety is a perfectly reasonable thing to do now. So, yeah. It's gone that way. Okay, there goes my ring. Oh, I caught it miraculously. Didn't think I would. Oh, come on, Robotnik. That wasn't fair. Just gonna wait for you to flip over again. Okay, I missed a ring that time. Okay, I can get all the rings I want. And lose them just as fast. He knows I'm waiting for him to flip over. I can tell. Somehow he knows. Ooh, lucky catch there, lucky catch. Flip over, Robotnik, flip over. Oh, thanks, Tails. That was very good of you. Okay, missed the ring. See, now I'm just losing normally. There was a section where I was just... It was Sonic 2 on the Master System, Green Hills Zone, where I just failed to get to the boss over and over again. And there's no rings in that level. So it was just, the whole thing was just me failing to be any good at the game. Yeah, I need to do that. Maybe he only flips over when you're on the correct side. But that's okay. So you have like a little time limit of being on the the correct side. And then, so maybe it's a good idea to hang around. Oh, thanks, Tails. To hang around on the same side as Robotnik near the tube. Yeah, no way to get that ring. So this is all just down to my level of skill. How did he miss that? Did Tails hurt him? Okay, I beat him. So we are on to the final boss. I'm going to pay for this. Okay, 2257. So I've got 4 minutes to beat the game to get, was it Animus who guessed that it would be 23 hours and 2 minutes? Oh, you go straight to Ultra Emerald. I did not realize that. I thought I'd have to navigate here. So it is perfectly possible I could beat it before Animus's guess time, but we will see. I'm making no promises. Especially as I am quite unfamiliar with this boss. I do not have an eidetic memory. You've lost sound and it's back. Okay, that's good. Was that sound from the game, sound from me, or sound from both? Okay, I got rings. Sound from both. Okay, that's weird. But hopefully I'm back in the room, and I know that you could hear me talking because you answered my question, so that's good. So, I'm going to try. I'm not going to cheese it. I've promised myself I'm not going to cheese it. Okay. Do I stand on these and get up to Eggman? There. And then... Oh. Bad move. Thank you, Tails. Now, because I can just use Tails to fly up and get the boss. Because he can hit the boss with his tails. That's going to kill me. So, when I'm talking about cheesing, I mean, like, a really kind of cheesy way of getting the boss that you kind of feel is, like, going against the spirit of the game. So, you can, like, I think I figured this out last time I played. You can, if you got Tails, you can call upon Tails to, like, fly up into the air with you. And while if Tails hits a boss with his tails while he's flying, so it's this move. If Tails hits something with his tails, it will take damage. So you can just keep on... You're supposed to climb up on things to get to Robotnik's face and hit him. So you'll see Robotnik's going to appear. And there, right up at the top, is Robotnik in a little window. Now, you're supposed to climb up on stuff to get to that window. You can just use that flying move with Tails and just keep on using Tails to fly up there and hit him with his tails. But that kind of ruins the fun of it. So, because this is a non-scientific, this is not a world record attempt, I'm happy to do it the fun way rather than the way that feels kind of like cheating. I want to finish by actually doing the challenge of the game. I don't want to finish the run by having it be like easy. I forgot that attack existed. Speaking of cheese, there is a character in this game called Cream, who is a bunny rabbit who flies by flapping her ears. And she also has a way of cheesing this boss. She has a little companion character which follows her around, and you can just launch that at things, and it like just flies. It's invincible and just flies into a nearby target. And that creature that she carries around with her is called Cheese. So it's actually kind of weird when I pick up a ring now, and it's like, oh, that was a perfectly safe thing to do. It feels really odd. I don't know why I just did that. But anyway, that's me past the 2-minute point, so... But I think so far Animus is closest to the guess. Chippy, you were... Was it 23-13 or something? So, I am expecting to beat this sometime in the next 10 minutes. I mean, I kind of... feel I could beat it in 2. But I've definitely beaten it in... like, my... So, 23, 17, 14, right. My hope was that, and I'll be honest, I didn't think this would be possible, to beat the entire thing in under 24 hours. I have beaten the entire thing in under 24 hours. With breaks in between, to sleep and also enjoy Christmas and New Year. But it does show that maybe trying to do it all in 24 hours in one go would be a fun stream to do, for example, as a kind of charity fundraiser or something. I've shown myself it is doable in multiple sessions, so that's the first step to proving that it's doable in one session. And of course I can add extra games for that as well. Could add in Sonic Blast, Sonic CD, and Sonic R, which are 3 games that are featured. Add in Sonic Rush. Not mentioned Sonic Chronicles. I'm not sure how I'm meant to avoid that, so... Oh well, I just take the damage, get the ring back. There's no disadvantage to taking damage anymore. Oh, come on. Okay, this is just me struggling to beat a boss now. So, trying to get Sonic Battle consistent, is that as in with the shuffler or just to play? As in, are you trying to play it more consistently? Okay, there we go. That's Gamo beaten. Let's try and beat this boss without cheesing it. For the final time on the clock, what is it going to be? So this has been a 2-hour and 18-minute stream. To be honest, I had a sneaky suspicion this might be a 1-hour stream, which may be giving about a bit too much away about what I put on my card. Has it already elapsed? Did I predict correctly when I guessed how long it would take me to beat the entire thing? I've got it written on the card. You can see what I guessed. So at the moment, Sonic Battle is just switching for random stuff. Oh, come on. That was bad. That was very bad. I'm going to feel very happy when I do finally beat this. I kind of feel like I'm making this more difficult than it needs to be. Like, just by playing clumsily. This is not an epic game moment that I feel like I should be proud of. Okay. Sip of water. And concentrate. Now, previously when I've concentrated, that's involved making weird faces, so, And now the balls come down. Let's see if I can get a couple of hits off of these. That's good, that's good. 3 hits off of that. Now he's going to do something weird with his hands. I don't know what it is. That thing where he kind of grabs you out of the air and shakes you. I have no idea what it is I actually need to be watching out for with that. But it's this one. Okay, that was good, that was good. I avoided it. I wasn't sure what I was trying to avoid, but I avoided it. Okay, 2. Let's see if I can get one more hit. So that's... He might only have one more hit to do. That's time. That is time. 23:07:04. The final hit landed. 23 minutes and 7 seconds. I did it. I did it. I beat all these games with the shuffler. Hooray. Let's hear it for the end credits for Sonic Chaos, beaten after 1 hour, where I went, oh, maybe this will be over quite quickly. Sonic Triple Trouble, which was the next to be beaten after 4 hours and 41 minutes. It was like the other 3 games in the list. Like, this is not in the order that they were added in. So Sonic Chaos, Sonic 3D Blast, Sonic Knuckles, and Sonic Advance were the 4 games I started with. Beat Sonic Chaos, it got replaced with Triple Trouble. Beat Triple Trouble, got replaced with Sonic 3. Beat 3D Blast, it got replaced with Pocket Adventure. And that sort of so shows you the order they were beaten in, not how long they took. So let's hear it for Sonic Chaos. Sonic Triple Trouble in 4 hours 41 minutes. Sonic 3D Blast in 4 hours 51 minutes. Sonic and Knuckles in 7 hours 56 minutes. Sonic Advance at 9 hours and 5 minutes, which is a solid, like, easily twice as long as it took me to run in the previous shuffler I'd run it in, which was impressive. I don't know what it was, but having it in a roster of 4 games instead of a roster of 3 games made it take about twice as long to beat, which is really weird. Anyway, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 on the Mega Drive, 10 hours and 16 minutes. Sonic Pocket Adventure, 12 hours at 14 minutes. Knuckles Chaotix, the sinister, evil experience that was Knuckles Chaotix, got beaten in 13 minutes and after 13 hours and 17 minutes. Sonic 1 on the Mega Drive got beaten after 13 hours and 59 minutes. Sonic 1 on the Master System was 15 hours and 22 minutes. Sonic Spinball, the game that I thought would destroy me, on Tuesday night, I beat that in after 17 hours and 34 minutes. Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, 18 hours and 26 minutes. Followed swiftly by Sonic 2 on the Master System, 18 hours and 30 minutes. Sonic 2 on the Mega Drive beat that last night, 20 hours and 56 minutes. And of course, tonight's finale, Sonic Advance 2, 22 hours and 48. And Sonic Advance 3, 23 hours and 7 minutes. That's the end of the run. Thank you so much for everyone who's come along, who's chatted in the chat, who's supported me, who's retweeted me when I've tweeted about how I'm going to do this and how far through I am so far. Everyone who's chipped in with advice on how to beat the games and do all of these advice on how to beat the games, tricks and things, shortcuts. That's all been really helpful. Moves I didn't know existed. How to beat the final boss in Sonic Spinball, which I did not know how to do, and I needed a lot of help from you, the audience, on that. So thank you very, very much. What was on the card? Thank you for asking. I'd totally forgotten. My prediction was that... I don't know if you can see this. Oh no, that's... Okay, pull it back a bit. Pull it back a bit. Okay, I don't know if it's legible, and I don't know which way I need to move it. There we go. Sonic Advance 3 I predicted would be first. And I thought I would do it in 22 hours and 20 minutes. So I was way off. I got the wrong game finishing first. and I was 47 minutes off with the time. So yeah, no, I was way off with my timing. 22 hours and 20 minutes, that was my prediction. So yeah, this has been fantastic. Just to talk over memorable experiences, Sonic Spinball was an absolute bastard of a game. But I kind of feel like I've got a bit good at it now. So I would actually be happy to play it again now. So I feel like I've got the measure of it. Sonic Triple Trouble, Sonic 3D Blast, Sonic Knuckles Chaotix, and some parts of Sonic Advance 3. These were the games that, like, really got my mind going because, like, they had a weird effect on the other games they were paired with because I'd find myself needing to, I'd need to adjust to them. What do I mean by that? It was very easy to get lost in them, and that was a really interesting interaction. Sonic 3, Sonic Chaos, and arguably Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on the Mega Drive. These were probably the 3 least interesting games. These were the ones I played kind of mindlessly. Same with Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 1 on the Mega Drive were kind of mindless through large chunks, but they also had these moments where you really needed to concentrate. And then the games which had stupid hard moments where you really needed to concentrate. Sonic Advance 3, Sonic Advance 2, Sonic Advance 1, Sonic 2 on the Master System. Sonic Pocket Adventure had a couple, and Sonic 1 on the Master System had a couple. But the biggest thing that Master System Sonic 1 had was, I think, Risk of Drowning. And oh no, Jungle Zone was really interesting in that. So anyway, that was the sum total of the experience. I really enjoyed that. I feel like I learnt a lot about the different games. At some point, I'm probably going to be writing up my findings about what I thought about all the different bits of it. Probably looking back over all this footage again and thinking, you know, because that's something I like to do. I mean, the whole reason for doing this is to find, like, do the games interact with each other in interesting ways when you put them in this challenge? Does the challenge of the Ring Shuffler change the way that you interact with games that were previously familiar? And I think things like Knuckles Chaotix, the fact that that was really interesting, not because of how easy or hard it was as a game, but how it made all the other games it was paired with that much harder. I think that was the biggest surprise of the run. So anyway, I'll be thinking about all of that stuff in the future, but right now, I'm going to have a rest. I'm going to crack open a beer, and then I'm going to go to bed. But thank you very much once again, everybody who has watched, everybody who's joined in on the chat, everyone who's just been spectating calmly. That's been really nice. And thank you very much to everyone who has liked and retweeted all of the things I've done, like put out, inviting people to come and join. Look after yourselves, look after each other. Can I figure out how to raid? I do. Okay, I'm going to click on raid and see what's possible to raid and see. So there's no one I know running anything at the moment, but I do really like the Blind Boy podcast. I was talking about the Blind Boy podcast, so if you do want to stick around for some awesome, like, he'll be doing like improvised music, it's probably going to be quite adult in that it'll probably involve a lot of swearing, so, you know, ready your ears for that. But I do really like, you know, Blind Boy is a really interesting kind of creative figure, very inventive, does a lot of really interesting improvisational stuff. So I'm going to go over and rate him, so if you want to stay tuned, I guess that's what will be on next. Everybody, thank you very much for coming along. Look after yourselves, look after each other, and keep on being amazing. Catch you all later. Have a fantastic night. Alright, bye everyone.